to the show. This episode, we're going to take a look at the recent political climate, especially shifting our focus to the Democrats with the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, kicking off. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Kamala Harris wore a tan suit to day one of the DNC. What does it mean? I think we can all shift our memories back a few years to remember when Barack Obama wore the tan suit that became a huge controversy. And The Daily Show, in jest saying that it was the biggest presidential faux pas of all time, biggest controversy of all time. So let's take a look at what it means. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a prominent female politician in possession of a wardrobe will have her outfits divined for clues about who she is and what she thinks. Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris is no exception. But the dissection of Harris's choice of outfit took on a different tone after her surprise appearance at the Democratic National Convention on Monday evening, with some asking simply, is she trolling us? Harris wore a suit that could be described as tan, a color that Barack Obama famously favored during his 2 terms in office. It was an outfit choice that drove Republicans and right-wing pundits mad. Most famously when Fox News host Lou Dobbs declared that it was shocking to a lot of people that Obama wore a tan suit in 2014 to discuss escalating the U.S. response to Islamic State in Syria. It jumped out to me too when I saw it and following the stories today. I think Hillary also was on stage giving her speech in a muted, sort of cream-colored tan suit or outfit as well. Is this just random, or is there a hidden meaning here? Right? It's not a black suit. It's not a red suit. It's a mute color. So this could be a PR strategy to things. Not everything is as it seems. We can't always take everything at face value. Some things are done strategically. The choice was unpresidential, Republican Representative Peter King said, according to New York Magazine. I don't think any of us can excuse what the president did yesterday. I mean, you have the world watching. The White House said at the time that Obama stood squarely behind the decision to wear his summer suit. While some argued that Harris's suit was in fact camel, the phrase #tansuit was trending on X, formerly known as Twitter, as people speculated whether Harris was intentionally trolling, baiting, or aiming to trigger the Republicans and or Fox News. One tweet said, "She's wearing a tan suit. I can't stop laughing. So good. #vote for Kamala. #vote for Kamala. #DNC Convention 2024. This was by Johanna Fuentes. Menswear writer Derek Guy dissected the Obama suit controversy recently on X, writing that it was pretty contrived and obviously driven by politics. But in recent years, I also see it represented here as being just about color when that's not the full story. In a thread, he traced the history of the suit. pointing out that in the 1900s, brown or olive were reserved for leisure or sport in the country. Robert Mueller, when he was director of the FBI, wore dark blue suits. And according to a 2018 article in the Washington Post, Mueller imposed this uniform on his subordinates because he felt it represented the FBI's seriousness. There are stories of FBI agents scurrying out in the night to buy the right clothes before briefing him in the morning. Joe Biden wore a navy suit for a speech at the DNC on Monday night. But U.S. presidents, all of the men, have at times been more outgoing in their choices, Guy pointed out. Reagan wore tan suits, plaid suits, and even tartan blazers. He even wore a tan suit when appointing Donald Rumsfeld, discussing the war on drugs, addressing U.S.-Soviet diplomatic talks, and answering questions about his veto of the defense appropriation bill. There wasn't an uproar then, or not as much as when Obama donned the color. Personally, I think the controversy was contrived and overblown. Here's Reagan appointing Donald Rumsfeld in 1983, discussing war on drugs in 1983, and addressing U.S.-Soviet diplomatic talks in 1987, and answering questions about his vetoing the defense appropriation bill in 1988. Derek Guy tweeted, "For Harris, the choice of tan may have reflected the fact that she was not delivering a scheduled speech, so was, in a way, off-duty. She's expected on stage on Thursday." New York Times fashion director Vanessa Friedman pointed out that the tan suit was Chloe. In an article in July this year, days after Biden stepped aside, Washington Post fashion writer Rachel Tazjian-Wise asked whether a political figure has ever been less notable for their wardrobe choices than Kamala Harris. There's also a side note to this. While politicians get on stage and use rhetoric to convince us that they are for the middle class and for the working man and woman out there, how many of you are wearing Chloe suits? Leave a comment in the description whether you can afford that during the current inflation that we're experiencing. Harris, Tazjian-Wise wrote, mostly wears safe corporate tones such as banker blue and pale purple, but has spent the past several months subtly making changes to what she wears. They have been so quiet, you may not have noticed them, but they have given Harris a new gloss of power and polish, perhaps showing us how she most comfortably imagines herself. Writing in The Guardian, historian Einav Rabinovich Fox argued that Harris's style hadn't shifted as much as her energy, and that she could take pointers from black trailblazing politician Shirley Chisholm, the first and only other black woman to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Harris has shied away from bold fashion statements that would convey the historic nature of her candidacy or the excitement she stirs, Rabinovich Fox wrote. I actually signed up for the Trump newsletters and received one recently where it's from J.D. Vance, the nominee, his VP nominee, saying that there's a photo where Harris is wearing a necklace that apparently is a around a $62,000 Tiffany's piece of jewelry. And from her salary as VP, which is around $280,000, how is she spending over 2 months of salary on a necklace. So they're using that piece to say, hey guys, struggling out there, she's not one of you. How many of you can spend $60,000 on a necklace? The Harris Waltz ticket is not immune to poking fun at their Republican rivals. Their debut collection of merchandise included an accessory to rival the MAGA hat, a Harris Waltz hunting cap that raised $1 million for the campaign within hours of its release. And Harris has form when it comes to including references in her clothing and image. For her cover of Vogue, she appeared in front of colors that represent her sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and wearing their signature string of pearls. She was also once known for wearing Converse All-Stars. Though the Republicans had, hours after Harris's appearance, resisted taking the alleged tan suit bait, they have not been above sartorial slights. At the RNC, Republican Party co-chair Lara Trump compared Harris to an $1,800 faux trash bag sold by Balenciaga. Interesting, as this develops, we'll keep seeing more and more of this. Some will be overt, some will be less obvious. But from a PR and media perspective, we can always see through these messages and share with you what we think they really mean, or what is the angle there, right? Most things are done on purpose, not by accident. Well, that's all we have for you on this episode. Please hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also head over to buymeacoffee.com/Samson King. Make a small donation. We appreciate you. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.